My name's Don Smith. I'm with SSI Consulting, and I'm here today with Don MacKenzie, one of our operational improvement specialists. Good morning, Don.
Morning, Don.
So, Don, we're going to talk about lean today. So, why don't you give us a recap of what lean is?
Well, we often hear the term lean bounced around in manufacturing, Don, but the reality is the process of lean can be applied to anything from an office to a service industry. And basically what lean is stating or working on is that anything that doesn't add value to the customer is waste. So that means if the customer is not willing to pay for something, and if you can get rid of it, you still deliver the same product or service to the customer, but you've done it with less cost because you've eliminated what is termed as a waste.
So what are lean wastes?
Well, Don, there are 8 of them, and I won't list them here because you can Google them and find them in a second. But basically, the purpose of lean, the 8 listed lean wastes, are to allow you to look at your operation from a different point of view. Normally, if I asked you what the wastes are in your operation, you would come back with one of 2 answers. You would say it's a byproduct of what we make, meaning that if I cut a circle out of a square piece of plywood, the trim around the edge is waste. And the other kind of waste that most of us talk about is a product reject or quality failure. However, what the lean wastes do, they allow you to focus on areas that are different than those 2 areas that do cost you money. And if you can eliminate them, you don't affect the end product you're selling or the service you're selling. And you recoup the costs of the time and material that you've wasted.
Okay, so let's focus on just one area of waste. And so why don't you give us an example of one area of waste that people don't typically consider?
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, one of the ones is waiting. You know, we all laugh when we hear the term waiting, but we never really stop and think about what waiting costs a company.
Yeah.
And if you think about your normal day at work, you might be waiting for a report from someone, you're waiting for a part. So if you think about this from the customer's perspective, they don't know they're paying for some of your wastes of waiting. So if you can eliminate some of those waiting wastes, you can still deliver the same product in less time and with less cost. So let's think of an example. If I go to the car dealership to get my oil changed, the car dealerships basically work on the premise that an oil change costs this much money. So if I go to the car dealership, I go up to the window, they take my car, and I come back and I sit and they change my oil, and I go back to the counter. And I look at my invoice, and there's a $20 charge there for waiting. So I would be kind of reluctant to pay that. And I sure everyone would. But so you question it, like, well, what's this $20 waiting? And what if they told you, well, when the person went to the stock room to get your oil filter, there were 3 other people in front of them, and they had to wait. So you would be very, very reluctant to pay that. But in essence, when they have a flat rate for an oil change, they're factoring in the fact that some of their technicians are going to have to wait. So now let's look at it from a lean perspective. If we could eliminate some of those the waiting times that the technician has to experience, we would still deliver Don MacKenzie his oil change a little faster, and we would make a little more money because we would be able to do it in less time.
So how can we help eliminate the waste of waiting?
Basically, all lean improvements involve a small group of people staying focused on a problem. So in essence, if we're focused on that problem of waste, we would become laser focused on eliminating some of the wastes of waiting. The common problem a lot of us have is we'll try to solve everything all at once. But basically the way lean works is that you plan a solution, you do it, then you check to see that it worked. And then if it did work, it becomes the norm. If it didn't work, then we start over again and try to fix the problem. So getting back to what you said about how would we fix waste? Again, we have to be of the mentality that the people that are doing the process are the people best suited to solve the problem. So let's use an example of waste. And basically, Lean has many, many tools in the toolbox, they call it. One of the big ones that gets used is the thing called value stream mapping. And in essence, all that means is that we're going to map out the process and we're going to take a detailed look at it. In essence, the simplest way that we found most effective is people take these simple sticky notes. And what you would do is you would write the first, someone will facilitate it. They'll walk up to a blank wall, not a chalkboard or anything, up to a blank wall, and they say, okay, what's the first step in this process? So they'll write that down, just stick it on the wall. Then they say, what next? Okay, well, we go to the counter to get the oil filter. Okay, what next? Basically, you would lay out along an entire wall every little step that has to happen to get the process. So then you stop, walk back in a second, pick up a different color sticky note and say, okay, let's talk about where we wait in this process. So, okay, well, I have to wait there because Don has to get me a report. Okay, typically, how long do you wait? Well, Don's a pretty good guy. He gets me the report in 20 minutes time after. Okay, that's good. So you write that down. So you visualize this wall. We've got all the processes with one color along the top, and then below them we have where we're waiting. So then we as a group look at it and say, okay, well, we can't solve all these waiting issues now. Let's pick one. Which one do you think we should pick? And a group would pick one that's a sore spot to them and simply focus on tackling that one waste. Again, it's the people in the room that have been doing the job for a long time, know where these wastes are, and most of them will know how to fix them. And by staying focused on that one little particular waste, we have the ability to get rid of it for all. And the way we do that is the plan, do, check, act cycle, as I talked about earlier. We'll find that waste, we'll make a plan to fix it or to experiment ways to eliminate it. And once we've done that, we'll check to see that it worked. And that's the key thing that doesn't always happen. Lots of us will come up with ideas and we'll say, okay, we fixed that problem. That's a key thing about Lean again, is that we always have to go back and check that what we said was going to work did work. It can be as simple as entering something in your Outlook. Put it in your Outlook a month down the road and it pops up and it says, did that work?
So we're just about out of time here. So what are your final thoughts on Lean and specifically around waste?
Well, as I spoke about, if you think about any process or service, and you think about it from the customer's point of view, and the customer defines value, we have to remember that. There aren't many processes where the customer is willing to pay for waiting time. Right. So we can eliminate waiting time. We deliver the exact same product to the customer. We get it to them faster, and we've eliminated the additional costs of our people being idle.
All right. Well, thanks, Don. So to all our viewers out there, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below or reach out to us through our website. So with that, Don, I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Don.
Everybody else, have a great day.